And hello, everyone. Welcome to the Indie Creative Comics Podcast, where we are all about independent comics. I'm one of your hosts, Angel, with John Pepe.
How's it going, Angel?
It is a brand new year, 2026. Yeah, I'm feeling good, man.
All right.
We're getting up. The fucking snow passed us, which is fantastic. I had to shovel twice this year so far. It sucks. If I don't have to shovel for the rest of the winter, I'll be happy. It's been insane. And then I'm already, it's where what? We're 53 seconds into the freaking podcast, the first one of the new year, and I'm about to go off on a fucking rant. It's so bad, like with prices and everything going up. Not to mention like food and shopping, all that shit. It's just been ridiculous. But now PSC&G in New Jersey, for some reason, is just fucking skyrocketing. It's insane. Dude, it's like highway robbery. It's so bad. And I know when I got the bill, I was like, dude, there's no way it's this much. It's this much. We live in a single family house. And from last month to this month, it tripled in price. And I know it's not only me because I'm on a Facebook page for the town. Dude, so many people just writing on there. What the hell's going on with the freaking PSC&G bill? I was just like, dude, I'm just glad I'm not glad, but I'm just glad that I'm not fucking insane and thinking that it's just me. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, across the board, a lot of energy prices are going around. It's funny because, we have PSC&G for gas, but we also have electric stuff too, so that we do, our electricity is through Orange and Rockland, where we are, because we're,
right
close to Rockland County. And across the board, the energy prices are going up. I've heard about this kind of for a little while now. Some of it has to do with like certain things that are going on in the political climate, as far as decisions and bills that have been made and things, that are happening there, where we're seeing like gas prices for your car going down a little bit, but your energy prices are going up. And a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing right now is they're blaming it on AI. The AI generation sucks up so much energy that it's now costing more for everything else. So consider that when you watch some AI slop, like when you watch something, and it's like, wow, that's AI. You could realize that to generate some of this AI, it just sucks up so much energy, which leaves very little for everybody else, apparently.
Yeah, but it shouldn't cost us. It should cost the people that are running the fucking AI.
It's all weird. It has to do with grids and who owns what. And I always come back to Batman Returns and Christopher Walken, Max Schreck, like his plot where everyone thinks he's gonna build this big energy reactor to power Gotham, and then Michelle Pfeiffer, Selena Kyle, she finds out no, it's gonna just suck energy out of Gotham. And it's sort of like, I always think it's like kind of like that is what I'm thinking. It's sucking up all that energy. Sure, they're paying for it, but we're all paying for it.
I know. It all fucking sucks.
I could be wrong, but this is a lot of stuff that I have been seeing in regards.
Whatever. We're already going to conspiracy theories in 2026. All right, we're going off on a tangent. I apologize, guys, but I just had to get it out there because I was like, when I saw it, I was like, holy crap, I can't be the only one hurting this way, and I wasn't. So, all right, we're here to talk comics. So we're actually gonna kick it off into 2025. John and I sort of like put a little list of books together that we thought were sort of like the standouts for 2025. And then moving forward, we should be able to get back into our regular reviews. It's kind of slow at the very beginning of this year. We were just talking about that before the show. There's not that much of a choice in regards to indie or small publishing books. So we'll see what's going on over the next couple of weeks in regards to what's coming out. But we are going to take some time today to kind of review and talk about what books we thought were, top for us. But before we get there, we're going to do a little bit of the news. Not much because it's the beginning of the year. The only thing that I saw that was worth mentioning, because Yeah, it should be coming up soon. It's going to be what, 4 months from now, 5 months from now, the very first Saturday in May, which is usually called Free Comic Book Day. Guess what? It's still going to be called Free Comic Book Day, but it's also going to be called Comics Giveaway Day. And so, from what I understand now, the difference between the two now, I believe Lunar is doing Free Comic Book Day. So anything that's getting published under the Lunar banner or distribution is going to be Free Comic Book Day. And then anything that's Penguin related, which is like Marvel and all those other guys, Titan, maybe Dynamite, I think also, are going to be called Comics Giveaway Day. They're on the same day as far as I understand. But what I want to do is I'm probably going to chat with Len. Len is one of the owners of Joker Shot over at Fairlawn, and he's responsible for ordering these books for Free Comic Books Day. Going to find out how that's going to be rolling. So I mean, it doesn't really affect people that are coming in for Free Comic Book Day. This is more like back end stuff. But where it was under one banner previously, which made it a lot easier, now it's under multiple. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've read, there's over 40 books that are going to be offered for Free Comic Book Day / Comics Giveaway Day, which is insane. So if stores are going to actually buy all of the books, that's going to be it's going to be a pretty penny.
So, I mean, 40 to me right now seems a little light comparatively to previous offerings.
Titles?
Yeah, 40 titles seems a little light to me. From what I remember from the past, I feel like there was a much richer and healthier selection. The other thing I've heard about some of these titles that are coming out, it's very little to no new material. A lot of it is just reprint stuff, especially from the big two. So it feels like a lot of people are hedging right now as to what this is going to look like. That's my opinion, you know.
Yeah. I think that's just maybe one or two. I think the Energon Versus is something new that's coming out that I saw. There was a couple of things, but I think you're right. For the most part, though, it usually is reprints of stuff that's coming either down the road, like they get like a sort of like a sneak peek at it, or stuff that they've already had, previously. I mean, we're getting freaking Lock and Key again. Jesus Christ, how many times are we going to get Lock and Key?
Yeah. You mentioned the Energon universe, and that one cracks me up because for 2 years running now, there's been a Free Comic Book Day Energon universe one shot.
Right.
And literally a week later, Image releases that same comic with nothing new with like a $3.99 price point. And I don't know if that's like in reverse. You get it for free, or you wait a week and you don't get it for free, then you got to pay for it, which is actually kind of smart. It gets people to Free Comic Day for that.
Yeah, whatever it is. But yeah, so I think as close to it, we'll figure out what the actual number of books are going to be. I mean, it says 40 plus right now.
Okay.
Probably going to be somewhere in that range, probably like 50 books. I don't know if Distillery is going to be doing anything because those are oversized books. I doubt it.
Right.
In that respect, I think it's just going to be the normal stuff that we get from the two distributors that we have right now. So
and 40 plus makes me feel like, okay, there's more people that they're still in negotiations for. And again, it's like, who's going to go where? You go with your distributor, obviously, but then it's like, what about the people that are not necessarily through those distributors? Where do they go? Like, who do they sign?
Yeah. And I wonder how they're doing it this year. I wonder if there's solicitations for it, or they're going to be, because now we don't have previews anymore.
Right.
So are there going to be solicitations inside, DC Connect or Marvel? And then whatever we have on the Lunar site. I mean, freaking the Penguin Random House site is just horrendous. You can never find anything on there. It's just crazy. So unless you have a physical copy, I don't even think they have a digital copy.
Yeah, I mean, they still do those, the Marvel previews catalog each month and the DC Connect catalog each month, but they're not really.
That's just Marvel.
Yeah,
like at least Image on the Lunar site, it has the three. It has the DC Connect, it has the Image, and then it has the whatever they call themselves on there, which has all of the solicitations.
Right. I think these distributors are putting it onto the publishers to do their own, monthly previews books, because IDW does their own, and yeah, it's very weird. It was such an abrupt change. That was the thing about it, that you're so used to one thing for so long, and almost overnight, the Diamond stuff just went away.
Yeah.
And and it's like it's really weird, to not have that big chunky catalog every month, that kind of has almost everything,
right,
where it did, and it's just kind of weird to get used to. That's no.
And like the things that we used to bitch about was so mine. It was really awesome to have everything kind of like centralized, so that you can see everything that was coming out for the month. And now you've almost separated everything again. Now you got to follow your favorite, I guess, publisher and see what they have, if they're soliciting anything on their site or updating their sites, and stuff like that. It's just really wacky. But at least, rest assured, Free Comic Book Day / Comics Giveaway Day should be taking place this year. It's the first Saturday in May. As we get finalized details, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of marketing material we get for that as well. There's going to be 2 sets of posters in the store, and what color it's going to be.
Right.
Because normally we get those balloons that say Free Comic Book Day on it and stuff. Yeah, it's going to be. I'm looking forward to it, though, because it's going to be a spectacle. That's for sure. So watch out for that for sure. That's all pretty much that we have for you at the beginning of this year. I mean, there's still news about freaking Netflix and Warner Brothers and the whole Paramount trying to block the whole thing, but we'll see what happens there. All I know is 2 things. One, you got Netflix already broke ground on the East Coast with their new studio over at Monmouth, New Jersey. So that should be up probably within the next year or so, maybe less. Just a huge ass lot. And then the most recent news was Paramount building their lot on the East Coast as well, just
across the street from the Netflix lot.
Pretty much close. I think Hollywood's coming back to the East Coast. That's what's happening. But they're going to be in that sort of like Jersey City, Bayonne area off the water over there and stuff like that. So that's going to be breaking ground soon too. So, it's just going to be more traffic, but there's just going to be more content. It's going to be made on the East Coast, which is pretty cool. So stay tuned for details on that.
And Netflix and Paramount, we're available if you need us. Let the bidding war begin. Yeah, for sure. And then last but not least, finally, all the Project Shadow Breed stuff has been sent to print. All the rewards and everything have been, sent out to get made. So I'm excited about that process. It's long and enduring, and it takes quite some time, but I'm really excited about it, which means we're going to be getting ready to launch Project Shadow Breed issue 2, because that's already in the can. We're just doing some final, dotting I's and T's. We've got the advanced reader copies that are going to go to some of the rewarded people. And then, I think probably either at the end of this month or early February, we'll launch 2. And if you haven't, had an opportunity to get issue 1, then you'll get an opportunity to get it on there as well. So look out for that. Woohoo! We are good on that. All right, cool. So let's move into sort of our 2025 in review. There's a couple of books that I know that John had, and I have 4 books. We didn't check each other's lists, so it's going to be interesting to see if we have some similarities, or our taste sometimes does cross over, but for the most part it's really, really different from one another. We should guess next year. We should guess.
We should guess.
Try to guess what each other.
Dude, whatever cat book or animal book that comes out is definitely going to be on.
Not all animal books.
Or some slice of life fucking book. I just want to strangle your neck, or something with history. All right, let's go back and forth. So let's go with your first one. I'm trying to think of what it might be. I don't know. All right, go for it.
So I had a few different criteria I wanted to kind of pare down. So what I kind of did was I had one thing that finished, and then one thing that is still going, and then 2 actually, but we'll get to that a little bit. And then the third was something that I didn't review, but was actually recommended to me, and is from a very very indie project here. So I'm not going to say more about that until we get to it. So the first one I want to do is the one thing that finished, and that series was from Oni Press. It was a 3-issue miniseries. It was written, comic writing debut from novelist Ben H. Winters, and illustrated by the great Leo Max. And it is called Benjamin. And it was a 3-issue series from Oni. I think that we didn't quite get to review it when it was running because we were on that big break.
Yeah, I don't recall it.
I did give a mention to it when we came back, when I said, 3 things that we missed out on while we were gone that we wanted to talk about. So basically this 3-issue miniseries, Benjamin, in one way it does follow that, what I like to call the Rain Man trope, where you basically have a very like painfully normal guy, right? Who kind of follows the rules in his life, and is very much stuck in his lane. And then you have a very wacky outsider come and pulls this guy onto this journey where this man now has to kind of break free of what he knows and go out and accomplish new things. So it's that sort of great trope. It's a very universal trope. I use that movie Rain Man. Probably a lot of people now don't necessarily know it, but we remember this movie where Tom Cruise was very much living a very staid lifestyle, and then Dustin Hoffman's character kind of comes back into his life and kind of pulls him onto this journey where he gets to go beyond his boundaries and kind of realize some things about himself. And so Benjamin, your straight-laced character, you're the guy that you're kind of following on this journey. He works at a motel, but the series starts with this your kind of outlier character waking up in this motel and not knowing how he got there, remembers falling asleep, but that was 20 years ago, and it wasn't really that he fell asleep, he died. And now boom, he's up here. And so turns out this guy was a science fiction writer. His name is Benjamin. He's the titular Benjamin. And the motel employee that we're following, whose name I do forget, his father was a huge fan of this author, and he has all of this guy's books. So then it's like, they start reading through the books to find, because the guy's like, I think I wrote about this whole scenario. And so there's that really weird self-discovery. It is very Philip K. Dick influenced. So you're dealing with sort of the concept of androids and, do they dream of electric sheep and all that kind of great Philip K. Dick, real metaphysical stuff. The artwork conveys the real world really well as this sort of, acid trip, sequences that are permeated throughout as well as you go on this journey. And there's a dog. It doesn't talk, but it's just a dog. And it's very important to the main guy that we're following. So Benjamin from Oni Press. Okay. I barely scratched the surface of what lies beneath these covers, but I really do highly recommend it. It was a 3-issue series. I think it's collected by now. Again, comic writing debut for Ben H. Waters, right? Did I get Ben H. Winters? So kind of makes me want to check out some of his novels, but I hope he gets to write some more stuff in the future for comics.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right, my first one. So I'm not going in order of what I appreciated the most. I'm going sort of like what came first to the very end of the year. So I think this one came out probably within the first quarter of 2025, and it's a continuation of a series that I was already reading. So this is a volume 2. This is from Dark Horse, and it's called Kill All Immortals. This is the second volume that came out. And it's just something that just really, it's Vikings and stuff like that. And there's a little bit of history context, but not like super accurate. So it's not one of those where I'm, following history, because I'm just with that stuff. But basically what you had in the very first volume was sort of like this reporter who was dating this woman who ended up being part of this family of these immortal Vikings. And, he convinced her to kind of like expose them to the world. And they've been around for a very long time. And what we come to find out is they've got their immortality from this tree that I guess it was hit by a meteorite and gave them the immortality powers. And throughout, history and time, the father has been able to build an empire with his sons and his daughter. And I think his daughter had just finally decided to, flip the script on his family because she just felt finally what they were doing was just not cool. So at the very end of this first arc, we sort of get her to, we see her pulling apart a family and obviously just destroying the tree at the end, and then they become immortal. And sort of this second arc picks up on where that left off. And now we find out that there's more than just one immortal family. There's all these other groups of immortal families that have known about each other. And they also have trees. And now that probably the more powerful Viking family that kind of kept everybody at bay is now mortal, now these other families are coming out of the woodworks and stuff is about to ensue. So it's pretty interesting. The concept is has been great. It's been intriguing, and they're doing it in chunks. And I think we had spoke about this, that more of the indie stuff or the small press stuff that's a long run is coming out in these short stints of 4 to 6 issues, volumes, and then they collect them, take a little bit of a hiatus, and then move the story along. And I think I'm digging that, because you'll get a full story arc, a full story in itself, and you'll get some recap from the previous stuff. So I think if they're really clever at doing it, like I believe Barbaric is doing that as well from Vault Comics, and they're doing it really well, then you don't have to start from volume 1 to pick up volume 3. You'll kind of know where you are. That you might miss some context of some inside jokes here and there, but for the most part, I think they do a really good job of recapping the overall arc of what you've missed, and then bring you into the current story that they have. And Kill All Immortals from Dark Horse is no different. So yeah, if you'd like sort of like that, a little bit of Viking history in there with mysticism, magic, and a whole lot of freaking killing, because holy crap is this book bloody. It's just fantastic. And I think it follows that rule. I was listening to a podcast, and I think most comics that have done really well follow sort of like the 7-7-7 rule, which is like 7 pages of action up front. Then you've got your 7 pages of story that moves you along. It can be a slice of life stuff. It could just be talking portions and stuff like that. And then you end the book, or you end the last 7 pages with more action, and then leave them on a cliffhanger. And I think this book actually follows that formula really well by doing that in there. So yeah, my number one, or not my number one, my first book for 2025, Kill All Immortals Volume 2 from Dark Horse. Check it out.
Very cool. And that's actually a great segue. So I'm going to jump to the one that is the super indie book that I did not review, but was recommended to me by you, Angel. And it was one of your Kickstarter joints that you passed along to me because you thought I would really enjoy it. And I did. It's made my top 3. So this is from Third Contact Comics, and it is called Immortal Coil, Volume 1, The End of All Things.
Tell me that book wasn't great.
This book is fantastic, dude. First and foremost, I love the size. Yeah. It's a little trim size, so it's just kind of real nice, easy holding. I love it. This sort of smaller size is all the rage now with the Marvel Premiere editions and the DC compact editions that people are going crazy about now. This is slightly bigger than that, but it really feels nice. They did a really good job as far as just the product, the packaging on this. Great, nice glossy heavy pages, nice real glossy cover. And this really, like you said, man, this kind of hit a lot of my favorite things, because you have sort of a contemporary setting that is steeped in Norse mythology. And you have a lot of those characters from Norse mythology showing up in the modern day. And I loved the color sequences, the black and white flashback sequences, plus the extra stuff you get as the back matter in this. You get some script pages with some page comparisons, which is really nice. So they put together a really good package. The folks responsible for this, story and art by Gerald von Stoddard, written by Frank Martin, colored by Guillaume Lindenberg, and flashback pages, inks were by John Martin, lettered by Rob Jones and Jerome Gagnon, edited by Sean French, and production by Metal Ninja Studios, which is a great name for a studio.
Yes.
And yeah, so this is sort of like, if you like sort of stories like American Gods, or if you like any of the better Thor stories, from the Lee and Kirby days to the present. This is really going to scratch your itch. Even if you like things that are a little more artsy fartsy like Sandman, I think this is going to fit in really well if those are your sensibilities and your tastes. Immortal Coil, I don't know what the status is on the Kickstarter, if they're still available, but if you want to seek it out, again, it's Third Contact Comics. This is volume 1, the end of all things, and hopefully there will be more. But I really
and that was the thing with this particular one, because it ended off sort of like on that cliffhanger, and you just don't know when you or if you're going to get any more. So I'm hoping they do continue with that. And, crowdfunding is great because it allows all this content to come into play, especially stuff that you probably normally wouldn't see because it's not going to be on store shelves. But then there's also that waiting to see if, there's going to be a continuation, because obviously there's challenges when it comes to creating content. One is time, one is resources. So, but yeah, it was really cool to support something and it actually be really, really freaking cool. So, yeah, check it out. Just look up Immortal Coil on Kickstarter, and it'll just bring you right to the book, and then you can actually get in contact with the people that actually did the Kickstarter for it.
It's so good. It's so good. I might not give it back to you.
You son of a bitch. All right, so there you go. So, all right, so my number 2 on the list. It's funny because I had 2 from the same company, which is not rare, but it's weird. Bad Idea. Save Now. Freaking such a weird title, but yeah, freaking great. So basically, you just have superpowered beings that go about their day doing stuff where they want to save the world. But what's really great about this is that, for the most part, when we deal with superhero books, superheroes are strong, number one. They recover fast. They hardly ever die. In this one, no, fucking superheroes die. But there's one particular superhero, it's called Save Now, who has the ability to go back in time, warn his compadres of how they die, so that when they redo it again, they don't die. So that's one caveat. The other caveat to the story, and I thought it was really great. So it's, to think about being able to stop time, go back and rewind so that you can do it over again. However, the caveat is, no matter how far you go back, you have to live that time again. So if he stops and he goes back 30 seconds, he has to live those 30 seconds. If he stops and goes back 5 years, he has to relive those 5 years. Everyone else is the age that they are, whatever. So basically, every time he goes back and he goes back to his girlfriend, fiance, he's a little bit older because he's lived all that time and then going back at that age. And so she's that age of 5 years previous, but he's aged 5 years. If he goes back 10 years, she's 10 years younger, he's 10 years older. It's just crazy. So basically, the crux of it all is that he's got to a point in history where no matter how many times he goes back, the outcome is always the same. It's the end of the world. So we see several times that he's gone back, and we see him aging, and he's having a conversation with his girlfriend. And each time, something may change just a little bit, but for the most part, it's the same. And his last time that he goes back, he's at a point where no matter what he does, nothing's going to change. So he goes back and he tells everybody that this is what's going to happen. But the caveat this time is that his fiance is pregnant. So now he's going to have a kid. And in 10 years from that date, the world is going to end. And that's sort of like where we are in the book. The series is still going on. Save Now from Bad Idea. We talked about Bad Idea from the very beginning. They got off the freaking to the start really, really well. Matt Kent and that crew over there, they did something really. I mean, you could tell they love comics. And then on top of that, all the gimmicks that they brought in to be able to bring in more people. I don't know if they brought in more new people. They might have taken people that, weren't stimulated by the comic book industry because everything was sort of like stagnant, that they made collecting and reading kind of fun there for a while. So yeah, I credit Bad Idea for at least rejuvenating a lot of people's interest in the medium, and they've kept really well. I mean, the books are pricey, but their book, the material is nice and cardstock, nice paper and stuff like that. So they are paying a little bit of a penny to make their books, but storytelling wise and the stories that they're choosing to tell has been awesome. I've read several of their books, and this has just been, it's been a fun read. And I'm looking forward to each one of the issues that come out. So check it out if you're just sort of like in the superhero trope, and this one just kind of like knocks it off its ass. Save Now by Bad Idea, really good stuff.
Nice.
All right, you got one more, yes?
I got one more. I do have an honorable mention that I'll kind of just sneak in there towards the end here, but my third pick was something that is also still going on, and I wanted to give, when I was making this choice, I wanted to give something more than one or two issues. So we're actually about halfway through this 8-issue miniseries. It is from Image.
I know what it is.
Skybound imprint, written by Robert Kirkman and illustrated by David Finch. 8 years in the making, and the devil's in the details, and boy, the devil's all over these pages that Finch has been working on. Basically, it's like he spent a year on each issue. Each page is done on 2 art boards. They also release it in a regular size, but they're also doing a slightly bigger, almost treasury size, so you can really see the details of the art. I've been getting the regular size, but I think when they collect this, I know they're going to do an oversized edition. I think I might spring for that, find the room on my shelf for that. But this generational tale of orcs, glowing crystal swords, and disgusting skin blisters is called Skinbreaker. And I really enjoy what's going on right now with this. Again, we're right at the midpoint. There's a lot of room for it to go. And I've really been enjoying the pacing of it, really enjoying the artwork. Again, I have not read much of Kirkman's stuff, but this kind of world that he's done, this sort of isolated thing, as of now, we'll see what happens after the 8 issues wrap up, because he is also very big on world building and expansion, as we've seen from Invincible and Walking Dead even. But
Yep.
as well as what he's doing with the Energon universe. But this Skinbreaker, it's just, it kind of satisfies, I like a lot of, big Conan fan, big Tarzan fan. So to have like those sort of lush jungle atmosphere on this alien world, as well as the sort of, feudal tribal battles within these groups that we're following, and the familial, legacy things that are happening, and the rules of their society. It really does. It's a fully realized world. It is really gorgeous to look at, and I'm really enjoying it.
Dude, that David Finch art is just ridiculous.
It is.
And it's one of those books where I looked at it and I wanted to read it and I was going to pick it up, but I want to collect it because I know it's only 8 issues. So when the hardcover comes out, I'm going to be the first one online to definitely pick that up, because that book is just going to be completely gorgeous. And I'm a huge fan of Robert Kirkman too. I mean, there hasn't been much that he hasn't done that I haven't enjoyed. Void Rivals is part of that whole Energon verse, and a lot of people are like that, but yeah, it's a really good anchor to the overall story that he's putting out there. He's been doing the spinoff off of the Invincible series. So he's got Beast out there, and then he's got the Capes also, which I'm really enjoying. So yeah, it's cool. For I was reading Walking Dead, but then realized it was over 100 issues and had seen on the season. So I gave up on that one real quick because it's too much content to read. But yeah, there's some, he's doing some great stuff, and he's just constantly working and stuff like that. And I definitely want to go back to that later on before we end the podcast, just to kind of like pick your brain about something that I was thinking about. All right, yeah, check it out. Skinbreaker from Image Comics. That's the name of the sword, right? It's called the Skinbreaker. Yeah. Cool. All right, so my third book. So this one is also from Bad Idea. This one just came out recently towards the end of the year. I think you know where I'm going to go. Just an overall fucking great concept. This is from Robert Venditti. This is Ordained. It's only the first issue's only come out. I mean, we're still waiting on a second issue and stuff like that. But yeah, this book just. Whew, I grew up as a Catholic. I don't practice anymore, but I was an altar boy, all that stuff. So when I saw it, I was just like, I'm not gonna be into it. But then I read the preview and then the concept of it, and I was like, holy shit, yes, I'm in. And basically, what you have is a priest who has been beckoned to the hospital to read someone their last rites, and we get to find out that it's sort of like this head mob boss, and he's just spilling his guts to the priest, giving sort of like his last rites because he's been diagnosed to die. Reads his last rites, priest leaves, goes back to the church, thinks nothing of it, no big whoop, whatever it is. Come to find out that the actual mob boss is not dying. He made a miraculous recovery. And so his henchmen come in, hey, boss, oh God, you made it. What do you need us to do? And he goes around and says, kill the fucking priest. I was like, holy shit. He confessed everything that he's ever done. So, I mean, obviously, priests are not going to do anything. They can't. They're bound by, Catholic law to not spill their guts. Anything that's in confession is between them and God. Whatever it is. But, yep, he's gonna dot all I's, cross all T's, and make sure that there's no witnesses to anything that he's ever done. So henchmen go over to the church, stuff ensues, and we get to find out that this is not just a regular priest. He has some background or something. We still don't know what it is. We don't know if it's a military background, but we definitely know that he has a past where he has some kind of training because he fucks these guys up big time. And it kind of ends with, we need to find out what's going to happen. So concept is great. Just, somebody who's done something in their past, turned their life around and wanting to do good for people, for the community, and then is being pulled back in, just like John Wick. I'm trying to leave, but they keep pulling me in. Well, that was in The Godfather too, wasn't it?
That was Godfather 3. Yep.
Yep. And then John Wick repeated it that many years later. So now it's in Ordained. So really cool. I mean, if you want to, study a comic book's pacing, because remember, when we look at issue number ones, you have to build a world. You have to build characters that are intriguing enough or interesting enough that are going to make people want to either continue to keep reading or come back for more. And this book just did everything right. Concept was cool, simple enough, easy to follow along. The pacing was great, gave you a lot of content, and then left you with a cliffhanger as to, oh shit, what's going to happen next. So yeah, if you want a masterclass in how to do a comic book, definitely pick up Ordained by Bad Idea. One of my favorite reads this year.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
You had an honorable mention.
I have an honorable mention. There was one book I just wanted to kind of call out. It did not start in 2025, but it is still going on, and it is an ongoing, and it has still been consistently really good throughout 2025, and is always at the top of my reading pile when it comes out. And I also couldn't let the podcast go without any sort of talking animals. So I'm going to throw in Feral, which did start in 2024. Tony Fleeks, Trish Forster, Tone Rodriguez, the ongoing follow-up to their great 5-issue miniseries Stray Dogs. Feral follows a group of cats in a basically a rabies outbreak that is just devastating humanity as well as the four-legged population, where basically it's zombies. It's Walking Dead, Night of the Living Dead with cats, and it is so ridiculously soap opera-y. But each time you just, I don't know, the way they get you to care about these cats is really cool. Even if you weren't predisposed to that, like if you weren't a pet person or anything like that, there was a dog too, you really do gotta care what these guys are going through. And I think the secret sauce for this is they do it in a very Disney Don Bluth animated style. So to see, on paper what look like really cute cartoony models, and then when some of these cats get turned, the bloodshed and the gore, it just makes it that much more visceral when you see a cutely drawn, four-legged creature just go completely feral, rabid, zombie, and just start tearing apart other cute creatures. It is both beautiful, cute, and twisted. But boy,
How
it
is
is
Fleece writing or is he drawing?
Fleeks is writing. Trish Forstner is drawing, and then Tone Rodriguez does.
That's so crazy, man. Because
Yeah.
he did Local Man too, which is like not even remotely close.
No,
Yeah,
and that's
Sterling.
one of the things with him. You got to love a writer who is versatile. But look, there's emotion in Local Man, right? The way he expresses himself and why he's doing what he does and the characters he interacts. He's doing that. Say the character work is all the same,
right?
It's just the dressing and species is different.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Feral, Jesus Christ. Yeah, before that was Stray Dogs, wasn't it? He did Stray Dogs also.
Yep, they both the same team. Yeah, this is their follow-up to Stray Dogs, which was a 5-issue with a 2-issue special afterwards. But this is going to be an ongoing. I've heard they have a 50-issue plan. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Right,
it's maddening. I don't know how they could sustain it for 30 more issues, but yeah, it's still good.
Well, Robert Kirkman did Zombies for 100 and something issues, so it's doable. So there you go, cat lover.
And cats have zombies. 9 lives.
I know. All right, cool. All right, my last one. So we know where we're going with this. This book actually started in 92, and it's back in 2025. It came back. Rob Liefeld's Youngblood. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not the 90s, but comics for me were always meant to be entertaining. There's really good stuff out there where there's just like just literature fucking genius. So if we look at like what the hell did I read? I read Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, that first one. It took me like fucking 20 times reading it because it's just so dense. Sandman is the same thing. There's just stuff out there like Toni Morrison did as well. But yeah, so you can have these literary masterpieces that are, that have graphics attached to them and really enjoy them. And then you can have sort of like this freaking sit back, just put popcorn in your mouth, freaking, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, just pure on adrenaline action as well. And that's why I love this medium, is because you can have both. You can have stuff that's just really in depth when it comes to the text and the graphics together, and then you can have something that's just really stimulating for the eye. And as far as the story, it's the same generic plot that you might just see in any action movie and stuff like that. But this is why we have 20 plus James Bond films. This is why you have that franchise, because that formula fucking works. You got the hot guy, the car, and the hot chick. It just works every single time. So you're going to follow that same formula pretty much with what Rob Liefeld's doing with Youngblood. You've got a superhero team. They're going to fight the supervillain. You know who the supervillain is, and you're going to get a shitload of action. Whether you like him or not, whether you like his art style or not, you cannot deny that boy has been around and he's earned his place as probably one of the most successful artist storytellers out there. So yeah, so my introduction into comics, I don't want to say full time, but really diving into comics is when Image was created. So we're looking at the early 90s, and Youngblood was their flagship book. Then came Spawn, and then came the other one, Cyber Force, Shadowhawk, Savage Dragon, fucking Wetworks, all of them down the road. And then you got the inception of Extreme Studios, where you had a whole bunch of people coming. I mean, Dan Panosian came out of Extreme Studios, and a whole bunch of other artists. Dale Keown was there for a while as well. So, dude, there's so much history there that you just can't deny it. And the fact that from early 90s to now, it came back after he lost the rights to Youngblood and stuff like that. It's just cool. It was a little bit of nostalgia seeing it. And he did not miss a beat. It went straight into the same shit he was doing in the 90s. And I am 100% on board for it. So this is what I would say about it. If your 90s nostalgic Image, definitely for you. If you want to get somebody into comic books and don't want them to be overburdened with a lot of literature, or something that's just so conceptually over a lot of people's heads. Like even Dark Knight, when I read that, I mean, it's so highly political in some aspects of it, but dude, it was so fucking dense. Great shit. Definitely belongs in the pantheon of great storytelling, and for its time. But I don't know if I would put somebody on Dark Knight to start with. But if you pick up a Youngblood issue 1, fuck yeah, because anybody can read it and just say, "Holy shit, this is just fucking crack."
It is the definition of 4-color crack. Absolutely, yeah.
It is. It is. And it's funny because I missed the old way that books felt. I mean, there was even a because when they started, that was actually the beginning of digital coloring, and they started to turn to paper and stuff like that. So it was a little bit different from what we got previously. It definitely wasn't. There was no more newsprint at that time when it came to these guys. But yeah, that era just right, after newsprint, before these guys went full on, that I just missed that the thinner covers and stuff like that. Just there were the self covers. It was the same as the interiors and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the only thing. It's been updated for now. We got the cardstock covers and 409 price points and foil and all that shit. But yeah, Youngblood, Image. It was definitely one of their top books for the year. Definitely made my year. So
nice.
Now I'm waiting for the what is it? The Artisan edition of Youngblood 1. Fuck, when that comes out, I'm jizzing all over the place.
I think you made a really good point. I think one of the greatest things about this this new Youngblood, it's Rob coming home. With his flagship title for Image, his baby that again was taken away from him, all that legal rights stuff. He tried bringing it to other publishers as well along the year or through the years. So I think it's really nice for him to be back at Image. He's also had his issues with Marvel over the last couple of years as well. But again, this is a guy always very outspoken, almost the bad boy of Image. He's almost at 40 years of professional work. And if not more, and so, to kind of have this part of his career come full circle is great. And people rag on him with, his faces and his feet and his ankles and stuff. But boy, he is the definition of dynamic art, extreme poses, big guns, plenty of pouches. He is the 90s art wonderkind. And I think it's really great that there's still a place for that, and that place for him right now is back at Image, doing what he's wanted to do for so long. So God, good on him.
Yeah, dude, and he has his own podcast, and you can just tell. I mean, he's got so much energy, but the thing that comes across is his passion for the medium, which I really appreciate. I mean, he loves comic books. He doesn't like them. He freaking loves comic books. And I think the fact that he's still making them, he'll be close to 60 soon. So, and the fact that he's doing the art and the story, other people might be helping him with the inks and the colors and stuff like that. But the fact that he's still doing it and he still loves it is just fantastic. And I think that's what's infectious. And I think whether you love him or hate him, you can tell his style anywhere. It's set apart from other artists that are out there. And each artist is inspired by another artist, and sometimes they try to emulate them in their respects. And sometimes it becomes where it's you lose your style when you're trying to emulate someone else. But him, Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson, you can tell these guys, Mark Silvestri, you can tell their style, you can tell their artwork, Jim Lee, just by looking at it, Walsh Patricio, as well. These guys have their own particular style that when you look at it, you just know who's drawing and stuff like that. Walt Simonson, same thing. Arthur Adams, all these fucking guys that just, they're fantastic in their own right. So yeah, just really, really cool. But like I said, all right, so those were our picks for 2025. There was a bunch of other stuff out there. Yeah. We're always going to invite you guys, to challenge yourself. Just when you walk into that, your local comic book shop. Yeah, we know that the big two are always going to be there in regards to selling their superhero stuff, and I still read that stuff. I'm still on Punisher and stuff like that. All the absolute stuff I actually pulled back on because I'm just going to read all that stuff in trade because it was so good. But yeah, I mean, even like the little Elseworld stuff, freaking Predator versus the Marvel Universe, fantastic. I just finished off as well. But yeah, so we talk mostly about small press and indie on here, but it doesn't mean that we don't read the big two stuff because it's still out there. But the challenge would be when you're looking at the walls is can you find something that is outside of the realm of what you would normally pick, so that we can help some more support these guys. And that's one of the reasons why I actually went onto Kickstarter and crowdfunding is to find a lot more of talent that has stories to be told that aren't going to probably be in the shelves or be seen by a lot of people. And I think I have 2 stories that I need to read on and share that with you guys. You already saw freaking Immortal Coil made it onto the 2020 Twilight hit, and that was a crowdfunding. But the thing that I wanted to circle back on was because this whole fucking, this medium is great. And I think it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. I know that. But there's definitely been a shift. And you know more than I do, the traffic that comes to the store is not 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds coming with their dads or moms and picking up comics. And, we've always spoke about where's the next generation of readers coming from, and how do we get them into the stores and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think of the last like independent or small press set of characters that went mainstream IP. And the only thing that I can think of, one, it's pre-internet, because I don't think anything since the internet has come out that's been huge. And there's going to be 2 things that I know you're probably going to mention, but I'm going to say why those aren't as huge. So the last thing that I could think of is May of '84, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay, right.
So
right.
Independent, small press, fucking nothing, black and white run copies. Now is one of the biggest IPs. Yeah. That's going to be around for a very long time. There'll be different iterations of them. They'll relaunch that fucking book 1,000 times, so it'll be around. Fast forward, right? So we get stuff. We get, Image comes into the 90s. Nothing's held up right now that's mainstream. I would say the only thing possibly would be Spawn. Possibly. But not everybody's going to know who Spawn is. But if you ask anybody who Teenage Mutant Turtle is, yes, they'll fucking know. And they'll probably go right to Vanilla Ice with that. So, yeah. So pre-internet, Teenage Mutant Turtles. Post-internet, nothing. And the only thing that I could think of that was big, but it's not going to have the longevity of the last thing that I just spoke about, TMNT, Walking Dead.
Yep.
You got your toys, you got your TV shows, your made for movie stuff, but I think that's it. I don't think you're going to get a reiteration or a retelling of Walking Dead on TV again, or more toys or whatever it is. So that's done. The next biggest thing other than that is another Robert Kirkman IP, which is Invincible. So most people still don't know who Invincible is. So I don't think it's at the pinnacle yet where, that came out when? That's Invincible. We're looking at 2003. So we're in 2025. So we've got 21 years vested in. So maybe another 10 years to see if he does anything with that particular IP where it becomes sort of like that mainstream IP. And I think one of the issues with being able to create something outside of the big 2 is because we're in that digital age. And because we have that I don't know what it would. It's not a buffer. It's just weird. It's just like I remember growing up in the 80s, and I think the 80s were a time where a lot of innovation was being done. We had a lot of first kind of things. We had our first runs of Saturday morning cartoons. We had, Atari came out in '77, but kids that grew up in the 80s grew up with new systems coming in.
Mhm.
You had Atari, Coleco, then you got freaking Nintendo, then you had freaking PlayStation. All that stuff was pre-internet. So anything that was pre-internet that fucking was, I don't know, it was on the cusp of new innovations and new ideas coming out.
There was also an immediacy to it where if you missed a comic on the rack, if you were following comics, you had to track it down. It was a
Right.
lot harder to find stuff when you could only go within driving distance, right? There's also this sort of like this, because now we kind of have this thing where, Invincible, I always say this when people come into the shop looking for Invincible back issues. Invincible as a comic was insanely popular when it came out over 20 years ago. By the time the show happened, a lot of stores didn't have many issues of the single issues left, and the trade paperback printings were kind of sporadic.
Right.
And so, I think the smartest thing they did was to really capitalize that on it now was the 3 phone book compendiums that gets you the whole series. And again, that feeds into the immediacy of the modern consumer to think like, wow, I get one big book, I get 50 issues of this comic that I love when I binge watch the show. And that's it. It's binging, right? So it's sort of interesting that, nothing, and I think you're right. I think once Invincible the show ends, it's going to cool off until there's the live action possibility. Walking Dead as a show has been over for over 5 years now, and yet it still continues in spin-offs. This comic got a second life because it was originally a black and white comic, and now each issue is coming out again colored. And so but again, at some point, Walking Dead will kind of go away, and then we'll have the eventual 15-year reunion of the show, and then might have a little resurgence then, 20 years after the show, a little, nostalgia kick then. But yeah, but I think you nailed it. I don't think anything has surpassed that has started as an indie comic has surpassed Ninja Turtles. I think you're right on the money there. Some have come close for the era, right? Close, not quite did it. Things we kind of associate with our 80s nostalgia kick that are also comics, G.I. Joe, Transformers. They didn't start as comics. They started as toys, and and the comic was built around the toys, so something like Ninja Turtles that really just sprang forth from a sketch on a napkin in a diner, self-published indie black and white comic is one of the biggest IPs, and I think in the comic world outside of the big 2, absolutely the biggest success. Absolutely. And it's really interesting that the 2 post-internet that you mentioned are conceived by the same guy. And so Robert has his finger on the pulse of something. And I think everybody else right now is trying to capture that lightning in a bottle. They're trying to figure out what's this formula that he knows that we don't. And so we'll see what happens. Ordained, we mentioned before, that's getting a movie. So we'll see what happens with that.
But I think so for me though, it's the audience is still too old. It's an old audience, and I think in the 80s, because there's no fucking way that you woke up on a Saturday when you were watching cartoons that every single commercial was a toy commercial. And I think that this day and age is missing that sort of tactile interaction with the things that we grew up with. So, I'm not saying that kids don't play video games and stuff like that. They do. But how many are playing with action figures or going to, Toys R Us is coming back here and there. But whose parents are taking them to go get toys, at Target or Walmart or it's just so different. And I think that component, along with, comics should be on the shelves of Target and Walmart again. Just fucking do reprints or do 99-cent versions of, reprints and stuff like that, old stories that kids will just pick up and read. And I think
Mhm.
because they don't have access to it, and it's not cheap. I mean, $4.99 for a book, $5.99 for a book now. It's if a kid's getting an allowance of $20, which is probably not happening for most kids, you're gonna spend $20 on 4 books,
Mhm.
2 books. It's they're probably gonna spend it on Pokemon cards.
Yeah,
Um,
comics is not a passive hobby. It isn't. It is not. Unfortunately, for years screaming for legitimacy, collecting comics. Oh, there are, and there's value in collecting them, and it's not just disposable entertainment. For decades of striving for that legitimacy, now we've gotten to a point where people are like, oh yeah, there could be money and there could be IPs in this, and people who aren't normal comics are wandering into comic shops. But the problem now is that we have now made comics a far more active hobby than it used to be, and that in order to people get very overwhelmed when they want to get into something,
right,
and then it's like, well, where do I start with Batman, or where do I start with this,
right,
or sometimes the indie books don't necessarily scratch that itch that they're looking for, so you have to keep looking for that thing,
yep,
or
yep,
that you really like, or you just walk away entirely.
yeah.
And there's no almost middle ground anymore with that, where there used to be. There definitely used to be, but that's
Yeah,
with
well,
everything,
yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're a quarter of a century into the next millennium, and I'm just hoping that the Robert Kirkmans of the world do come out with something that's going to have a little bit of longevity
Mhm.
on that shelf. Looking for that next thing that's not the main two. Everybody knows who Batman is, Superman is, and
Mhm.
we need something that's another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Yeah.
kind of concept out there to carry us through for the next generation. So
And
I'm
and
just
and
afraid that with everything that we have sort of like interfering in the world,
yeah.
or not interfering, distracting us from being able to have 2 seconds to pick up a book and just flip through it and enjoy it,
Mhm.
especially at a younger age, is so detrimental to just them and this whole medium, because
Yeah.
it's really just us enjoying it. I mean, you're looking at a 50-year-old who still reads comics, but I don't know how many 10-year-olds out there are reading comics and stuff like
They're watching YouTube videos
that.
about comics, and
Yes.
I mean, that's yeah, and
Yes.
they know all the details of these stories, but they don't have the experience of reading the story, and
Yeah.
that, to me, that hurts a little bit.
But that's the attention span also,
Yeah.
is to be able to sit there for 15. Like, oftentimes I can get through a comic in less than 10 minutes most of the
Mhm.
times if I just read it. But oftentimes I'm enjoying not just what I'm reading, but what I'm seeing. I'm
Mhm.
collecting it in. So a 10-minute, read can turn into 40 minutes of appreciating art along with the story and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So I was just thinking about it, and it's just kind of scary because it's been around since what, 20s, 30s, for the most part, and that would be close to 100 years of a medium that we just, there's uncertainty.
I
Uh,
mean, you could make the case that they go all the way back to the Egyptian
yes,
hieroglyphics and the
yes,
cave
yes,
paintings, but yeah, no, I
yes,
know, I know what you're saying. The
which costs
comics
1 ruble.
the comic strip as
Yes.
an art form, as a storytelling medium, as an art form. Yeah, yeah. 20s, 30s started with
Yeah.
newspaper strips. They collected those into these books, and then new material was generated, and that's how. Yeah, and and it's interesting because, like, again, like with something like Ordained, like, say that movie for Ordained comes out and
Mhm.
it's a big hit and everybody loves the movie. Remember History of Violence?
Yes.
Indie
Yes.
comic,
Yes.
big hit for a movie. Then it
Road to
goes away.
Perdition.
Yeah, but then they
Road to
go away.
Perdition. Yes, they go away. Road to Perdition.
Road to Perdition got some critical acclaim as a movie, but it didn't quite hit like the levels of History of Violence.
Yes.
Everybody was talking about
Yes,
History
yes,
of
yes,
Violence,
yes.
and so yeah, I think as good as Ordained can get, that's going to be it. I think for something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that. Where is that next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and is it even possible in the
Mhm.
modern era
Yeah.
accomplish that again?
That's the way. That's the way to put it. Is it possible in this modern era? I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. Where everything is is changing every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just insane. So
look, as long as, and I probably doomed us by putting this out there, but as long as Mr. Beast doesn't start getting into the comic game, we're gonna be okay.
Please, for real, fuck. Oh my God, no, forget it. Oh my God.
Well, I just got an alert. Yahoo News: Mr. Beast launches comic imprint.
Oh shit. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll be around for hopefully at least in this decade. And we'll be reporting on this side of the medium and sort of the indie side. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, we'll see. All right, cool. So we do have some guests that are lined up over the next couple of weeks. So watch out for those guys coming on. They should be on probably on Wednesdays. I think we have one coming up soon. Some guy from the 80s, which is pretty cool. And then we'll continue. So we'll figure out what books coming out. Don't think there was much because we were talking about this before the podcast started for next week. There's definitely something that I'm getting that I want to show you guys next week. So we'll definitely have a podcast. I'm not sure how much new stuff will be on there, but we'll definitely be around next week. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the year in review for 2025. We gave you some really awesome books. There's some great content that was coming out. So definitely make sure you visit your local comic book shop and get some stuff out there, which would be cool. So, yep, that's our show, guys. So if you like what you heard, click subscribe to the podcast. Better yet, tell 100 of your favorite friends to come on by. We're here every Monday live at 1 p.m. So if you want to come on and ask some questions in the comments, we'll definitely see if we'll answer some of those. If you want to be on the podcast, you're a creator, want to talk about yourself and or a project you've got coming up, go to indiecreatorcomics.com, look for the podcast form tab, fill it out. John and I would love to have you on to talk about you and or your project. Follow us on all the social medias, Indie Creator Comics. You'll find us there. And last but not least, support your local comic shops because without them, we wouldn't have one, Free Comic Book Day in May, or Comics Giveaway Day in May. And we wouldn't be able to talk about our favorite medium, which is comics. Now, John, in less than 25 seconds, is going to tell you where he gets his comics from.
Well, I get my comics at the Joker's Child in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. So come on down to the Joker's Child. The holidays were great, but we still have so much stuff to sell you. And I know you got some like sweet cold hard cash from your holiday from your grandma or your aunt or your uncle. So why don't you come on and spend that over at the Joker's Child? And if you can't make it to the Joker's Child in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, spend some of that holiday gift money over at your local comic shop.
Oh, there you go, folks. Until next time, we want to thank you for joining us on the Indie Creator Comic Podcast, where we are all about independent comics.